Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. The title of this video is We Are Saved as We Are. And the reason for that is I was inspired by something I read this morning on Josho Adrian Sirlia's VK website. And I'm going to read this to you. Bear with me here. Inside, we have the karmic seeds of rebirth in any of the samsaric realms. And these do manifest outside of us as solid projections of inner causes. Inside or outside, thus constitute the two faces of the same coin, or the two aspects of the same samsaric dream, in which we and all sentient beings are drowned forever, without any chance to escape by ourselves. However, Amida's light penetrates this inner and outer samsaric delusion, and its magical display of universes and worlds. Once this light is accepted into our minds and hearts through faith, that is the light of Amida Buddha, this faith known as shinjin, and the Nembutsu of faith, we are saved as we are, because no inside or outside darkness can resist Amida's unhindered light. As Shinran explained, the reason for the expression unhindered light is that it is not obstructed or impeded by the minds of karmic evil and blind passions of all sentient beings of the 10 quarters. You should understand that Buddha of unhindered light is spoken of thus, in order to indicate that this Buddha, Amida, seeks to save all beings unhindered by their being wretched and evil. This really speaks to me, and I've talked about it endlessly in other videos. This talks to me because one of the things I realized through my long faith journey is that there was no way in hell I was going to be up to the standard of any religious definition of righteousness by my own merits. There's no way I could get there in Christianity. There was no way I could get there through producing good karma in Buddhism or New Age philosophies. I couldn't do it. And one of the things this article touches on when it mentions we are saved as we are by Amida's light is the fact that, and this is what people don't understand about other power, and a lot of Buddhists don't get this about other power. They're like, oh no, you can't just, be some crappy person and just, go to the Pure Land. I actually had a Zen Buddhist monk tell me that. He's like, you can't just say Amida's name and receive shinjin and expect to go to the Pure Land. Well, then how do I expect to go to the Pure Land? Because I'm not going to get there on my own. And that's one of the things that touched on me in what I just read from Josho Adrian's post on VK, is that this unhindered light of Amida is not obstructed or affected by my obstructions and blind passions. It is not in any way dependent on or affected by Dave and the way Dave thinks and the way Dave reacts and the way Dave's emotions flare up, how Dave jumps to certain conclusions. Dave does not affect the light of Amida. That is separate. That is other power. Now, a lot of religions, including a lot of self-power schools of Buddhism, say we have to go through self-power. You know, there's no free lunch. You're not going to make it without, you know, pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, which I still think is a stupid phrase because it doesn't make any sense. You can't do it. And making it on your own and making yourself better. And I think a lot of people out there understand. A lot of you guys viewing understand because you've been there. You've tried on your own. I think a lot of you are here watching this channel because you've tried to be good. You've tried to be righteous. You've tried to be perfect. You still try to be righteous. You still try to be good. You still try to be perfect. And I do. I mean, I am a man of shinjin. I am at the stage of non-retrogression, retrogression. I'm sorry, I can't talk. I haven't had enough tea. Let me take a sip here. Jasmine tea. Non-retrogression, which means at this point in my faith, there's no way I'm going to slip back. There's no way I'm going to become something else other than a devout practicing follower of Amida. But the thing is, I live in the Saha realm. I do have to deal with my karma here while I'm still living here. So it behooves me not to create bad karma, thus creating a shit life for myself here while I wait to go to the Pure Land. That being said, all the good karma I can ever produce in this lifetime, it's not going to even be like a drop in the ocean. It's not going to amount to anything, because this is one of the frustrations I found when I was on my path to being righteous, was that no matter how far forward I went, I would end up falling 5 steps backward. You know, example, I remember when I was a contemplative Christian, you know, I would be singing in the Lord, I would be filled with the Holy Ghost, I would be happy and joyful, and I would be just, I'm going to be filled with God's light, I'm going to be filled with grace and happy, and then someone would be in a car and would pull in front of me, causing me within a half of an inch of wrecking. I would curse this person out. I would use any and all epithets and, you know, the foulest gutter mouth you can think of. And then suddenly my holy righteousness as a saint in training was in the toilet. Same was true when I was a New Age practitioner and a Zen and Mahayana Buddhist. You know, I would be, you know, I am not affected. I neither love nor hate. And I would be walking around, you know, and I would just be, you know, my mind is clear. I am a leaf floating on the wind. And then, you know, some stupid kid would be in a pickup truck or something going 90 miles an hour and just for the fun of it scream out an insult, and I would say, you know, fuck you, you know. And that's the thing, man. I mean, anyone who's honest with themselves, that's why I just talk as I normally talk on these videos. I don't try to act all holy, because I'm not. And I'm not going to BS myself, and I'm not going to BS you, because I want you to know what it is to have a life of shinjin, what it is to have a life of settled faith in Amida. This is all important because it is obtainable. And some of you out there have contacted me and let me know that you shared with me your frustration at, I want to receive shinjin. I just can't get to that point where I could give up all my doubts. The key word is I can give up all my doubts. You can't. I can't. Shinjin is a knowing. It is not a fixing. And it took me years, even after receiving shinjin, to fully comprehend that. I received shinjin. I knew Amida was real. I knew his Pure Land was real. And therefore, I knew I was going to his Pure Land in my next life. But I didn't really know what shinjin was. Really, I mean, I was pretty new to the whole thing. And with time, you begin to understand it has nothing to do with making yourself believe that Amida is real. It has nothing to do with making yourself believe that the Pure Land is real, because that's self-power. If I can make myself become this or that, I can become a Buddha on my own. I can use my unenlightened thoughts, my unenlightened reasoning, my disturbed, twisted, confused emotions to make myself into a Buddha, which is basically what I was trying to do as a Zen and Mahayana practitioner. I had the best of intentions. I'm not going to say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I wasn't headed toward hell, but I was definitely headed toward another life on the samsaric wheel. You know, I can't get myself off the samsaric wheel of endless births and rebirths in samsara. I can't. And I always quote Clint Eastwood in his spaghetti western saying, you know, man's got to know his limitations. You know, it helps to understand the meaning of the word bamboo, something Shinran and Rinyo use in their writings a lot. Bamboo is a word that means spiritual idiot. And that is a very ego-deflating realization. When you tell someone, well, you know, I'm a spiritual idiot, you know, you just knocked yourself out of the chances of being deemed a divine master or a Buddhist saint. Because most of the time, people who consider themselves divine masters or holy saints end up as cult leaders. And this is the gift that I preach on this YouTube channel, is that the greatest thing I've ever realized was that Amitabha Buddha and his promise of the primal vow, the promise that says, you will be reborn in the Pure Land of ultimate bliss and peace if you entrust yourself to me and say my name, or I will not be a Buddha. He is a Buddha. He has been a Buddha for many, many kalpas and will be for many, 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 many kalpas. Many billions of years. And the reason I can say that isn't because I've made myself believe this to be true, isn't because I brainwashed myself through Dharma study in believing this is true. I know this to be true. This knowing is shinjin, and the stage of non-retrogression that Shinran talks about a lot in his writings is that stage where you just know. Anything else from your so-called carnal mind, your unenlightened mind, as we call it in Buddhism, is irrelevant. And Reverend Josho of Amida Temple made it, he has this wonderful analogy that has helped me so much. He says, whenever you have tumultuous, strange, crazy, perverted thoughts and emotions, don't cling to them. Don't spend another second focusing on that and trying to fix it. Realize this is your unenlightened mind being unenlightened. Change your focus to Amida. Change your focus to something like saying Nembutsu, a thought of gratitude. I mean, yes, life is very hard. But I was talking with a friend yesterday and telling him, and I've known this person for way over 10 years, I said, Ken, the way I am now, after receiving Shinjin, having been a follower of Jodo Shinshu Buddhism for so many years, how different am I from when you first met me over 10 years ago? And he's like, whoa, yeah, light years difference. That is not because I have trained myself and disciplined myself and become a better person. It is because I have slowly learned to stop placing so much emphasis on what Dave thinks, who Dave is, what Dave's emotions tell him. Now, I mean, I'm not a robot. I love the color green. I love certain art. I love blue jays. I love the sound of crows. I love a lot of things. There's a lot to Dave that Dave likes. Spicy food, French vanilla coffee, jasmine green tea. There's a lot I like, and it's part of who I am, and I enjoy that. But also, a lot of who I am is the neurosis, the emotional scarring, the anger, the rage, the jumping to conclusion, the negative defeatist thinking that I was raised with, ingrained into my personality since birth. Excuse me. These things didn't just go away with Shinjin. And some of these things will be with me till I leave this Saha realm. I used to say till the day I die. I can't die. We can't die. I don't have any doubt in the reality of the afterlife. And there are a lot of people who call themselves Buddhists who are just, nihilistic atheists who've learned how to meditate. And I'm not going to harp on that too much. I harped on it on the last video. But I gotta tell you, there's a huge difference. I am not a nihilist. I am more than an optimist. I know I'm going to be born after I die in this world. I will be born in the Pure Land as a Buddha. I don't say that with any hesitation. I don't doubt that for a moment. And I have to make it clear, there's no way in hell I could ever get there on my own. I could not say that because of anything Dave has done. Certainly not for anything Dave has ever thought. Even though I may look calm on the outside, there are times that the darkness and evil and confusion and chaos inside of me, I do believe surpasses that of a demon. I had a friend of mine make the comment that he feels like at times like a demon leashed by Amida's grace. And that sums me up. One of the characters in Japanese folklore is Oni Nembutsu. And an Oni is a vicious, horrible, foul-smelling, evil demon that rips people to pieces. It tends to be unmerciful. It tends to be filled with all manner of darkness, violence, and evil. And yet in Japanese folklore, there is a thing called Oni Nembutsu, and that is a demon of the worst count, or one of the worst counts. I don't know the grades of these things, but it is still a demon. It is still evil. It is still, filled with darkness, but it has entrusted itself and its karmic destiny to Amitabha Buddha. And so it says the name of Amitabha Buddha, knowing that even though it is a demon in this world, in this realm, in whatever realm it's in the next realm it will be a glorious Buddha. And those who are not familiar with Jodo Shinshu philosophy, traditional Jodo Shinshu philosophy, would hear something like this and say, that's stupid. Why would you even, that's irreverent. No. If you're honest about what human nature is, if you're honest about, if you've ever watched YouTube, if you've ever gone on the internet, you know the boundless evil, chicanery, and deception in humanity. You have seen the horrific acts committed by humans against people they've been married to, spouses, their children, sometimes their own children. Anyone familiar with serial killers and people like Ed Gein and Ted Bundy and John Wayne Gacy, that there are people that are so filled with darkness that they cannot even comprehend what it's like to have a conscience. How is that any different from a demon that tortures people in hell? Not much. These are humans. Now, am I like this? No. Never took a human life, never tortured anyone, not physically. I'm sure we all use words to emotionally hurt people and torture them. It is a form of torture. It's cruelty. But I've killed countless insects. I slaughtered a couple of chickens at one time. I guess it was many years ago. And afterwards, I became a vegetarian because oh, crap. The thing that got to me was how easy it was. And that's the thing about human nature. You hear on the news all the time about all these murders that take place, all these acts of child molestation, of torture, of violence. of fraud, people having their lives taken away, of slander, the cancel, I can't talk today, the cancel culture we live in. If you don't like someone or their philosophy or their politics, all you have to do is go on and spread a bunch of lies about them and just destroy them just because you feel like it. This is a human trait. So when I think about stuff like this, the idea of a demon realizing it is a twisted, evil creature and crying out and somehow being met by the grace and love of Amitabha Buddha, that doesn't seem fantastic to me at all. In no way does that seem improbable, because it's very like me. The thoughts and the emotions I have thought and felt throughout my lifetime and continue to feel. You know, these are not the thoughts of a righteous man. These are not the thoughts of a saint. These are most of the time not even the thoughts of a good, decent person. Now, why am I going online on a YouTube channel and admitting this? Because, like I said, this YouTube channel is not about making me look good. It's about you, convincing you that you need Amitabha Buddha and his grace in your life. My life, what makes me happy, is him now. Like I said, there are other things that make me happy. But my true happiness comes from Amida Buddha. My true happiness comes from saying Nembutsu. My true happiness comes from sharing the Dharma to people like you. And so you're watching this and you're listening to these words and being open to Amida speaking to you, even if it's through someone like me. That brings me happiness. Not because it says I'm anything great, I'm not. But I want you to know this is real. If you come away with nothing else from this video, know it doesn't matter how crappy a person you are. It doesn't matter whoever you are. If you stumble on this channel and you are the lowest garbage in the world and you're drunk right now and you just finished jerking off or whatever, just say Namo Amitabha Buddha and just say homage to the Buddha of infinite light and life, Amitabha Buddha. Say over and over again, Namo Amitabha Buddha, Namo Amitabha Buddha, Namo Amitabha Buddha. And just say that word and focus on that name. Don't waste your time trying to fix yourself. Don't waste another minute trying to untangle your matted, hopelessly matted, warped thoughts and emotions. I spent so many years off and on after receiving shinjin trying to make myself into a good person, trying to make myself good. Right now, at this point in my life, I've never been a better person than I am. I've never been a more content or happy person than I am. And the reason for that is I've learned Josho's technique. And when I forget it, I remember it. Don't give another moment's notice to the madness and confusion that is around you, outside in your environment, or to the madness and confusion that is inside you, in your inner environment, in your emotions, in your thoughts, in your feelings. These are like clouds, Josho says. They float. They come, they go. Sometimes they're rain clouds. Sometimes they're not even visible. Sometimes it's a cloudy day here in Houston. I'm looking out, and these things just, they are. And they're just up there in the clouds. They're up there in the sky, being clouds. And some of them are darker than others. Some of them are more menacing than others. But mainly they're mist. And the closer you get to them, as I found out in a plane, all they are is mist. There's nothing substantial to a cloud. Josho also uses the analogy of our thoughts, turbulent, unenlightened thoughts and emotions, as dreams. Sometimes they're pleasant dreams. Sometimes they're a nightmare. I have many very, very strange dreams. I'm convinced I go to different realms when I go to these places. It's different. But through years of living in Shinjin, Amida is there in my dreams. Does that mean they're always pleasant? No. Amida is every moment with me in my life. Does that mean my life is always pleasant? No. I deal with a lot of stress. I've cut back on that stress by not focusing on the political climate here in America. Yeah, I've talked about that. Yeah. Only the Nembutsu is real. Now, what does that mean? It has been many years for me. Not nearly as many years as I've been around. I'm over 60 now. And I love it. I love being old. And I'm excited by the prospect of dying one day, and maybe in 20 years, maybe in 30 years. Hell, I don't know. Maybe in 4, I don't know. I don't care. I hope it's not that long, but I know when I die in this world, I will be reborn in another world. I don't doubt that. But I know the realist reality I have is faith in Amida and saying his name. Because like clouds, like dreams, my thoughts, my emotions, and the climate of the environment I'm in is subject to all the different karmic influences of other people combined with the karmic influence of myself through karma generated in the past, the present. It's constantly like clouds changing, sometimes billowing, pleasant, sometimes tempestuous, most of the times blocking out the sun, as clouds tend to do. And sometimes my turbulent thoughts and emotions will block out the light of Amida. Have I lost Shinjin? Have I lost faith? Absolutely not. Never. I can't. I know that. But like the sun obscured by clouds, my focus is not always on Amida. Sometimes I get caught up in the weird dream. I get caught up in the nightmare. I get caught up in the distractions. They're like clouds. They're like dreams. And what are clouds and dreams? They're temporal. They don't last. You wake up and you say, wow, boy, that was a weird dream. And I have a lot of vivid dreams. I don't always remember them when I wake up, but there's always that impression you have, slight memories of the dream. And last night was no exception. I couldn't, it was a long dream. It wasn't bad. It was pretty pleasant, but it was on the dark side. It was a weird dream. But I could sense Amida was there. Amida is with me always. That's like in my daily life. Sometimes I get distracted by what happens at work, what happens in a supermarket, what happens on the bus. But I know Amida's there. And now more and more, whenever I feel my mind focusing on crap, I will either reach in my pocket at work or I will pull off my ninju, mala, however you want to call it, prayer beads, and I will start either silently or aloud. Namo Amida Bu, Namo Amida Bu, Namo Amitabha Buddha, Namo Amitabha Buddha, Namo Amitofo, Namo Ayida Fat, Namo Amitabul. It doesn't matter how you say it, just say it. And if you're watching this by chance, if you accidentally, in a drunken stupor or while you were high on something, came across this video, just say Namo Amitabha Buddha. Don't think. Just say Namo Amitabha Buddha. That is a connection to Amitabha Buddha. Is it a magical spell? People would say, no, I don't know, man. I look at how my life has changed after I started saying the name of Amitabha Buddha. If anything's magic, it's that. The fact that I am sitting in this room, living a pretty darn happy life, not rich by any means, but I am happy. I am satisfied. I am enjoying my later years. And it is only due to him. It is only due to Amitabha Buddha. That's why I don't try to make these videos pretty. That's why I don't try to add flashy special effects, because it's not about me marketing myself. I detest that. I don't like narcissists. I don't like narcissism, where people try to convince you that they're an entrepreneur or a provocateur. I'm not. I'm a working class guy trying to survive day in and day out, finding strength, hope, and peace and joy in Amitabha Buddha. And I will always point to that picture instead of pointing to myself. And hey, let me give you some advice. You don't want advice from me. The only advice you want from me is how Shinjin has saved and strengthened and continues to save and strengthen my life. Because I know Shinjin, that simple faith, means I'm going to be reborn in the Pure Land. So I don't really have to put that much into this life. I do the best I can for Amida. I live for Amida. And Amida has brought so many blessings into my life. And you notice I never use Amida in the term of a symbol or some kind of, allegorical, representation. That's crap, guys. And if you are a Jodo Shinshu Buddhist and you came on this channel, let me tell you, people like Al Bloom and others that teach Amida is a symbol. I don't know if Al Bloom has actually come out and said that, but I think there have been people who have known him who said that he didn't believe Amitabha to be a real Buddha, the Pure Land to be a real place. It was a representation of enlightenment. It was a symbol for the enlightenment. Bullshit. No. You rob yourself when you buy into this. I want to tell you something. The biggest miracle of this YouTube channel has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the fact that Dave found a real living Buddha of magnificent power named Amitabha, who wrenched his life out of hell on earth. This isn't a fictional character, doesn't do this, guys. I'm sorry. You know, a nice allegory here and there doesn't fix what was broken in me. No, what I had, the environment I came from, the mindset I hit the world with, is the kind of mindset that puts you in the toilet. It puts you living behind a dumpster. It makes you a hopeless drunk or druggie or crackhead, wanting to cut your throat but not having the balls to do so. I have no doubt I would have given up on life and killed myself if it were not for Amitabha Buddha's grace and love. Certainly with all that's gone on recently, the pandemic, the political turmoil worldwide, the violence, the confusion, the division, the racism, the hate. I wouldn't have been able to cope in an environment like this if it were not for the grace and love and peace offered to me daily through my Lord and Savior, Amitabha Buddha. I can't say enough about this. Till my dying day in this Saha realm, I will continue to sing, worship, adore, serve, and share Amitabha Buddha with others. I don't care how cringy I come off. I don't care how my bad language offends people. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to connect you through my own experience to Amitabha Buddha, to beg you to say his name. Because there's nothing about me that you should want or need except Amitabha Buddha and the saying of his name. Amitabha Buddha is real, and his love for you and for me is real. Namo Amida Butsu. Have a great day, guys.